Welcome to Soul Velocity. Today we're diving deep into a topic that will separate your habits from your destiny. The title is How to Stop Overthinking and Take Action. And I've broken this journey down into 10 powerful parts, each one built to challenge, stretch, and grow you. So buckle up, let's begin with part 1. You know what's stopping you from living the life you want? It's not your circumstances, it's not your resources, it's not even your past. It's that you're thinking too much and doing too little. You're planning and replaying every scenario in your head, every possible outcome, every fear and every doubt until you're frozen, unable to take even the smallest step forward, and it's costing you your dreams. Overthinking is the silent killer of dreams because it feels like progress while it steals your momentum. It feels like preparation while it drains your energy. It feels like safety while it keeps you stuck. And if you don't learn how to break this cycle, you will keep living in circles, watching opportunities pass you by, watching others move while you wait for the perfect moment that never comes. Steve Harvey will tell you that your breakthrough will not come in the comfort of overthinking. It will come in the discomfort of taking action before you feel ready. Because the truth is, you will never feel fully ready. Your mind will always find a reason to wait, to pause, to question, to delay, and you have to decide if you will let that voice win or if you will step anyway. You have to understand that clarity does not come from thinking alone. It comes from movement, from trying, from failing, from learning, from adjusting. And every step you take will teach you more than every hour you spend overthinking. Because action is feedback, and feedback is progress. And the people who win are not the ones who think the most, but the ones who move the most. Your dreams do not need you to be perfect. They need you to be present, to be active, to be willing to fail and try again. Because failure is not your enemy. Inaction is. Fear is not your downfall. Hesitation is. And you have to choose to step into the unknown with faith, to believe that you will figure it out along the way, that you are capable of adapting, learning, and growing. You don't need another plan right now. You need to take the first step on the plan you already have. You need to make the call, send the email, record the video, write the page, launch the idea, because action will build the confidence that overthinking is stealing from you. And when you act, you change the conversation in your head from what if it goes wrong to what did I learn today? Your life will not change because you think about change. It will change because you act on change. And the only way to stop overthinking is to prove to yourself that you can move before you feel ready, that you can take imperfect action, that you can learn in motion, that you can build momentum even when fear is whispering, that you should wait. Overthinking is rooted in fear and action is rooted in faith. And you need to decide which one will lead your life, because faith does not remove fear. It moves despite fear. It acts while afraid. It steps while uncertain. It tries while imperfect. And it shows you that you are stronger than the doubts you have let control you. This is your reminder that your dreams are waiting for you to act. Not to think more, not to plan more, not to wait more, but to move, to execute, to build, and to trust that you will grow into the person you need to become as you take each step, because your future is built one small action at a time. And today is the day you take the first one. Part 2. If you want to stop overthinking, you need to understand that your mind will always search for problems to solve, because that's what it's built to do. And if you don't give it a mission, it will create a maze of doubts, fears, and imagined scenarios that keep you stuck in your head instead of moving with purpose in your life. You keep waiting to feel ready, to feel confident, to feel certain. But confidence does not come before action. It comes from action. It is built in the process of doing, of showing up, of trying, of failing and learning. And the people you admire are not fearless. They are courageous enough to act while they are afraid, to move while they doubt, to take steps while they question themselves. Steve Harvey will tell you that you can pray about it, you can think about it, you can plan about it, but at some point you have to move. You have to trust that God will guide your steps, but He cannot move your feet for you. You have to take that step into the unknown, into the uncomfortable, into the places where growth happens and excuses die. You will not think your way into a new life. You will act your way into it, one decision at a time, one action at a time, one moment of courage at a time. And if you wait for clarity before you move, you will wait your entire life, because clarity is not given to those who wait. It is given to those who walk. Stop telling yourself you need more time, more preparation, more research, because often what you call preparation is just fear in disguise, procrastination dressed up as productivity. And if you are honest with yourself, you will see that you already know the next step. You are just afraid to take it. You have to understand that taking action is not about feeling ready. It is about deciding that your dreams are worth the discomfort, that your future is worth the risk, that your calling is worth the fear, and that you are no longer willing to let overthinking steal another day, another opportunity, another chance to become who you are meant to be. Your breakthrough is not waiting in your thoughts. It is waiting in your actions. And every time you choose to act instead of overthink, you are training yourself to trust yourself, to build your confidence, to create momentum, and to silence the doubts that have kept you small for too long. You do not need to take a giant leap today. You just need to take a small step to do the thing you have been avoiding, to move in the direction of your goals, because small steps taken consistently will take you further than big steps you never take. And action will teach you more in a day than overthinking will teach you in a year. If you want to live a life that is different from the one you have now, you have to be willing to do things differently, to step before you feel ready, to move before you have it all figured out, to trust that you will learn as you go, and to believe that progress is better than perfection, because waiting for perfect will keep you perfectly stuck. This is your reminder that your dreams are waiting for you to act, and every day you delay, you are choosing comfort over calling, fear over faith, and excuses over execution. And you have to decide which one you want more, because you cannot have both. And the life you want will require you to take action, even when it is uncomfortable. Part 3, one of the hardest truths you'll ever have to face is this. Nobody is coming to push you. Nobody is going to make you do it. And if you don't learn how to push yourself through hesitation, through fear, through confusion, you're going to spend your whole life stuck in potential, never stepping into purpose. You can talk about your goals, post about your goals, dream about your goals, but until you move, nothing changes. Because it's not the idea that changes your life, it's the execution. It's not what's in your heart or your head that transforms your future. It's what you're willing to do when it's hard, when you're scared, and when nobody is clapping yet. Steve Harvey has been there, sleeping in his car, broke, uncertain, but moving, still making calls, still chasing that stage, still believing that faith without works is dead. And that means if you truly believe something is for you, you can't just think it into existence. You've got to move in that direction, even when you don't feel qualified yet. And don't let that voice in your head lie to you. The one that says you're not ready, that you don't have enough experience, enough education, enough support, because that voice isn't trying to protect you, it's trying to keep you comfortable. And comfort is not your friend when you're trying to grow. It's the silent enemy of progress. You keep waiting for that moment where it all makes sense, but success rarely comes with clarity. It comes with courage. And the people who make it, they are not the ones who had the most support. They are the ones who decided to support themselves when nobody else believed yet. So the next time you feel overwhelmed, like the step is too big or the dream is too far, shrink it, not the dream, the step. Break it down until it's so small that it would be ridiculous not to do it. Because progress doesn't start with leaps, it starts with movement, with motion, with choosing to do one thing that moves the needle. And here's the truth. You do not need to see the entire staircase to take the first step. And you do not need to have all the answers to start the journey. Because confidence is not a requirement for action. It's a result of action, and clarity is not something you wait for. It's something you create by moving forward. You've got to start living like time is not promised, because it's not. Like your gift deserves to be used today, not someday. And the longer you wait, the more you train your brain that hesitation is normal, that comfort is acceptable, and that calling can wait, but calling doesn't wait, and your window will not stay open forever. You don't need more motivation, you need a decision that says, I'm done sitting in circles with my doubts. I'm done letting overthinking steal my time, and I'm done waiting to feel brave before I move. Because sometimes the bravest thing you can do is move with your knees shaking and your heart pounding, but your vision still clear. And once you realize that you don't need everything perfect, just enough to start, that's when you become dangerous. That's when fear starts to lose power. That's when your gifts begin to rise, and that's when your life starts to change. Not someday, but today. Part 4. If you truly want to stop overthinking, you have to stop treating your dreams like they're optional, like they're something you can casually get to when you feel like it, because your dreams are not hobbies, they're callings, they're assignments, and the longer you delay them, the more you rob yourself and the world of the difference you were created to make. You need to understand that the discomfort you feel when you step out of your comfort zone is not a sign to stop. It's a sign that you're growing, that you're moving, that you're finally stepping into the places you were meant to walk. And most people will never experience the life they want because they keep interpreting discomfort as danger instead of seeing it as the path to growth. Steve Harvey will tell you that if you wait for everything to feel easy, you will never do anything meaningful, because every next level will require a new version of you, a version that is willing to risk embarrassment, to face criticism, to walk through fear, to be misunderstood, and to still keep moving forward because you know what you are building is bigger than your comfort. Overthinking keeps you trapped because it convinces you that you need certainty before you move. But faith is moving without certainty. It's believing in the unseen. It's trusting that each step you take will reveal the next, and you will figure it out as you go, learning, adjusting, and growing in the process. If you want to break the cycle of overthinking, you need to replace it with action. Not massive, overwhelming action, but small, consistent steps that build your confidence, that teach your mind that you are a person who moves, who decides, who executes, and you will see that the fear begins to fade the more you prove to yourself that you can act even when you don't feel ready. Stop asking for opinions from people who aren't living the life you want. Stop seeking validation from people who aren't building what you're building, because the longer you wait for permission, the longer you will stay stuck. And you don't need permission to pursue your purpose. You need commitment, you need consistency, you need faith, and you need to start. Understand that every successful person you admire has felt fear, has doubted themselves, has questioned the path, but they didn't let those feelings stop them. They used them as fuel to prepare better, to work harder, to stay humble, and to stay focused, because the difference between the successful and the stuck is not the absence of fear, it's the willingness to move despite it. Overthinking often comes from fear of failure, but failure is not your enemy. It's your teacher, it's your refinement, it's your preparation, and every failure carries lessons that prepare you for your next opportunity. But if you never move, you never fail, and if you never fail, you never learn, and if you never learn, you never grow. You need to remind yourself daily that your time is limited, that your gift is needed, that your calling is waiting, and that action is how you honor the life you've been given, because talking about change will not change your life. Reading about change will not change your life. Thinking about change will not change your life. Only action will. So today, commit to being a person of action, a person who moves, who tries, who learns, who adapts, who grows, and who refuses to let overthinking rob them of another day, another dream, another opportunity to step into the life they were created to live. Part 5. One of the most powerful shifts you will ever make in your life is deciding that you will no longer negotiate with your excuses, that you will no longer let the habit of overthinking dictate the pace of your progress, that you will no longer allow fear to sit in the driver's seat of your decisions, because your calling requires you to move even when you're uncertain, to act even when you're uncomfortable, to step forward even when the path isn't fully clear. You have to realize that you cannot think your way into a new identity. You build it by proving to yourself through action that you are becoming the person you say you want to be. And every time you take a step despite fear, every time you execute despite doubt, every time you move despite discomfort, you are rewriting the story you tell yourself about who you are and what you are capable of becoming. Steve Harvey will tell you that the breakthrough you are praying for will not come while you are sitting in the comfort of your thoughts. It will come in the middle of your obedience, your consistency, your willingness to show up, to learn, to fall, to stand up again, and to keep moving with faith that what you are building is worth every challenge you are facing. Most people waste their energy trying to feel ready before they move, trying to feel confident before they act, trying to feel certain before they decide. And they spend years stuck in a cycle of preparation without execution, learning without applying, planning without building, and they wonder why nothing changes in their life, while others with less talent and fewer resources are passing them by simply because they chose to act. You need to understand that clarity is not a prerequisite for action. It is a result of action. And the more you move, the clearer your path becomes. The more you do, the more you learn. The more you learn, the more you grow. And the more you grow, the more confident you become. Not because fear disappears, but because you discover that you are stronger than your fear. Overthinking convinces you that waiting will protect you from failure. But in reality, waiting often guarantees regret. And while taking action carries the risk of failing, inaction carries the guarantee of missing out on your potential. And you have to decide which risk you are willing to live with, because the pain of discipline is temporary, but the pain of regret can last a lifetime. Your dreams are not waiting for you to feel ready. They are waiting for you to take responsibility, to show up, to take ownership of your calling, to decide that you will not let the fear of the unknown keep you from stepping into the life you were designed to live. And once you make that decision, everything begins to shift, not because the fear disappears, but because your commitment becomes stronger than your fear. You have to stop outsourcing your future to your feelings, because your feelings will fluctuate. They will rise and fall. They will whisper doubts and fears. But your calling is not dependent on how you feel. It is dependent on what you choose to do. And if you want to break the cycle of overthinking, you have to build the discipline of acting while you are afraid, moving while you are uncertain, building while you are learning, and growing while you are stepping. Every great accomplishment in your life will require you to move while you are unqualified, to step before you are ready, to try before you feel prepared, and to act even while you are afraid. And when you do, you will discover that you are capable of far more than your doubts have led you to believe, and you will begin to build a life that reflects your potential, not your fear. Part 6, if you truly want to stop overthinking, you have to stop waiting for the fear to go away. Because fear is not going to disappear just because you want it to. It will only lose its grip on you when you teach it that it does not get to decide the direction of your life. When you prove through your actions that faith will lead and fear will follow, and the only way to prove that is by moving even when the fear is loud. You have to stop letting the questions in your mind drown out the calling in your spirit. Because there will always be questions, there will always be doubts, there will always be reasons to pause, but your calling does not have time for you to wait until you have every answer, because the answers are often hidden in the action you are avoiding, and clarity is earned in the process of moving forward. Steve Harvey will tell you that comfort zones are beautiful places, but nothing grows there. And if you want to become the person God has called you to be, you will have to step into discomfort. You will have to walk through uncertainty. You will have to stand in spaces where you are not the most confident, the most qualified, or the most prepared. But you will learn, you will adapt, and you will become. Overthinking is rooted in the fear of making mistakes, but mistakes are not what you should fear. You should fear staying stuck. You should fear watching your potential slip away. You should fear reaching the end of your life, knowing you let hesitation win, because mistakes can be corrected, lessons can be learned, and failures can be leveraged. But time wasted in inaction is time you will never get back. You have to train yourself to take messy action, to move imperfectly, to execute before you feel fully ready, because it is better to make progress while learning than to wait for perfect and never start. And every person who has achieved something worth talking about has a history of imperfect starts, small beginnings, and courageous steps taken in the dark. The mind will always seek certainty, but life will not always provide it. And if you want to live a life that is meaningful, you have to be willing to trade certainty for purpose, to exchange comfort for growth, to leave the known for the potential of something greater. And that requires you to move with faith, to trust the process, and to take the next step, even when the path ahead is not fully clear. Stop telling yourself the lie that you need to wait, that you need to plan more, that you need to think more, because thinking without action is the illusion of progress. It feels productive but produces nothing. It feels safe but builds nothing. And it is the enemy of execution, which is the only thing that will turn your dreams into reality. You have to be willing to fail forward, to let your mistakes teach you, to let your failures refine you, to let your setbacks strengthen you, because you are not defined by your failures. You are defined by your willingness to rise after them, to keep moving, to keep building, to keep believing that what is ahead of you is greater than what is behind you. Overthinking will convince you that your value is tied to getting it right the first time. But growth is rarely about getting it right immediately. It is about learning, adjusting, and improving over time. And you do not need to be perfect to be effective. You need to be consistent, committed, and willing to act. Your life is too valuable to waste in the prison of your thoughts. Your dreams are too important to let fear keep them trapped in your mind. And your calling is too urgent to let overthinking continue to delay your purpose. So decide today that you will be a person who moves, who acts, who builds, who creates, who lives fully, and who refuses to let fear and doubt steal another moment of the life you have been given. Part 7. If you're still waiting for the moment when you'll feel fully prepared, when the path will be smooth, when the applause will come early, I've got to tell you something. That moment doesn't exist, and the people who keep waiting for it are the ones who watch life happen while others make it happen. At some point, you've got to wake up and decide that your vision is more important than your comfort, that your future deserves more than your delay, and that your gift was not placed inside you so it could die inside you. It was placed there so you could use it, even when you're nervous, even when you're unsure, even when no one else sees it yet. Steve Harvey says it over and over. You're not always going to be ready, but if the opportunity shows up and you've been faithful to your preparation, you'll rise. Not because the moment was easy, but because you trained your mind to show up scared, to act uncertain, and to speak even when your voice shakes. Overthinking is clever. It will convince you that hesitation is wisdom, that waiting is maturity, and that you're doing the right thing by staying where you are. But let me be real with you. Most of the time, that voice in your head isn't your wisdom, it's your fear disguised in logic. And if you keep listening to it, you'll rationalize your way out of the very life you were meant to live. You don't need more time. You need a tighter decision. You don't need more answers. You need more courage. And you don't need more validation. You need a moment of silence to hear yourself say, I've waited long enough. I'm not perfect, but I'm ready to try. It's not your job to have all the details figured out. It's your job to show up for the next step. Because every person you look up to, every story you admire, every success that inspires you started with a decision, not clarity, not certainty, just a bold decision to move forward anyway. Overthinking is the enemy of momentum, and momentum is the greatest advantage you can give yourself when chasing your dreams. Because once you're moving, the fear loses volume, the doubt fades to background noise, and the excuses start sounding smaller. Not because they've disappeared, but because your action has made them irrelevant. It's better to be the person who tries and adjusts than the person who never tries at all. It's better to fail in pursuit of purpose than succeed in staying safe. And it's better to be tired from building your life than to be rested while wasting it. You've got more inside you than you've been using, and you'll never tap into it by sitting still, by thinking more, by waiting longer. You'll unlock it through motion, through movement, through messy, uncertain, imperfect action, the kind that teaches you everything you need to know on the way, not before you start. Because in the end, it's not your thoughts that will define your legacy, it's your actions. Part 8, you will never change your life until you change your relationship with fear, until you stop treating it like a stop sign and start treating it like a signal that you are moving in the right direction. Because the life you want, the growth you need, the future you are dreaming about is always on the other side of discomfort. And if you keep waiting for comfort, you will keep waiting for change. Steve Harvey will tell you that the only way he got to where he is now wasn't by avoiding fear, but by moving through it, by saying yes to opportunities before he felt ready, by getting on stages when the nerves were loud, by showing up when it was easier to hide. Because the only way to build confidence is to prove to yourself that you can act in the presence of fear, not in the absence of it. You will never be fearless, but you can be courageous. And courage is not about the absence of fear. It's about deciding that your purpose is more important than your fear, that your calling is bigger than your comfort, and that the life you want is worth the discomfort it will take to build it. Overthinking will keep telling you that you need to prepare a little more, that you need to wait for the perfect moment, that you need to get it all together before you take the next step. But the perfect moment is a myth, and waiting for it is how dreams die slowly while you tell yourself you are being patient. You don't need to have it all together to start. You need to start so you can get it together, because clarity comes from movement, from taking steps, from trying, failing, learning, adjusting, and growing. And the people who make progress are not the ones who know everything. They are the ones who are willing to learn while moving. It's better to take imperfect action than to stay stuck in perfect planning, because you can fix a mistake, you can adjust a plan, you can learn from failure, but you can't do anything with inaction except regret it. And the longer you wait, the heavier regret becomes. The future you want is not waiting for you to be perfect. It's waiting for you to be consistent, to be disciplined, to be brave enough to take the next step and the next and the next, even when it's hard, even when it's unclear, even when it feels like you are not ready, because readiness is built through action, not waiting. Your mind will always give you reasons to pause, but your spirit will always remind you that you were made for more, and you have to decide which voice you will listen to, the one that keeps you safe or the one that calls you forward, the one that keeps you hidden or the one that calls you to ride. Overthinking is a habit, and like any habit, it can be broken by building a new habit, and that habit is action. Small steps, consistent movement, daily progress, choosing to move forward even when it's not perfect, choosing to build momentum even when it's uncomfortable, and choosing to trust that you will learn what you need to know along the way. Because the truth is, your dreams deserve action, your purpose deserves commitment, your future deserves effort, and your calling deserves your courage. And if you keep waiting for the perfect moment, you will miss the moments that were meant to build you, grow you, and lead you to the life you are capable of living. Part 9, you've spent enough days letting hesitation decide your pace, enough nights letting fear tuck you into bed, enough mornings waking up with regret, whispering, you should have moved yesterday. And if you're tired of that cycle, it's time to stop feeding it with more delay, more doubts, and more excuses that sound reasonable, but are robbing you quietly of the life you could be living. Steve Harvey will tell you, your gift isn't waiting for the perfect moment. Your opportunity won't stand still forever. And the people who leave a mark on this world are not the ones who had it easy, but the ones who moved while it was hard, who showed up when it was uncomfortable, who spoke when their voice trembled, who acted before they felt fully qualified, because they understood that courage is not something you find by sitting still. It's something you build by taking the next step. Overthinking wants you to believe that thinking more will protect you, but what it often does is protect you from growth, protect you from progress, and protect you from the lessons you need to step into your next level. Because clarity rarely comes before action. It comes through action. And if you wait until you're certain, you'll wait forever, while your potential sits inside you unused, collecting dust while your fear gets stronger. You need to look yourself in the mirror and say, I don't need to feel ready to move, because readiness is a myth and action is the truth. And if you want to stop overthinking, you need to replace thought with action, replace fear with faith, replace questions with movement, and replace waiting with building, because the clock is ticking, whether you move or not, and your dreams deserve more than your delay. It's easy to watch other people live their dreams and tell yourself they had better circumstances, better resources, better support. But the truth is, they made decisions you're still afraid to make. And if you want what they have, you've got to be willing to do what they did. Move while scared, act while uncertain, build while doubting, and trust that you will figure it out as you go, not before you go. Every single day you have a choice to be led by fear or led by faith, to let your thoughts paralyze you or let your actions free you. And if you truly want to live the life you keep talking about, you've got to stop talking and start building, stop planning and start executing, stop doubting and start trying, because the only way to defeat overthinking is to outwork it with action. Understand that you don't need massive steps to change your life. You need consistent steps, small moves that add up over time, actions that build habits, habits that build discipline, and discipline that builds a life you are proud of. And if you keep waiting for big moves, you'll miss the power of small, daily decisions that carry you further than you ever imagined. Your calling is too important to waste in the prison of overthinking. Your future is too valuable to leave in the hands of fear, and your potential is too great to let hesitation hold it hostage. So decide today that you will be a person of action, a person who moves, a person who tries, a person who learns by doing, and a person who refuses to let fear and doubt have the final say in the story of your life. Part 10, the decision to begin. All the knowledge in the world will not matter if you never act. All the motivation in the world will fade if you don't follow it with movement. And all the dreams in your heart will die there if you do not decide that today is the day you will begin. Steve Harvey didn't wait for the perfect time, for the right conditions, for the ideal scenario. He moved while scared. He acted while uncertain. He stepped while unqualified. And because he moved, the doors opened, the opportunities came, and the growth happened. Your story is waiting to be written by your actions, not your intentions. And the moment you decide to begin, you start to take back your power from fear, from doubt, from procrastination, and you begin to create a life that reflects your purpose. It's not about being fearless. It's about moving despite fear. It's not about having it all together. It's about showing up willing to learn, to adapt, to grow, and to keep going when it would be easier to quit. You will never regret trying. You will only regret waiting. And today, right now, is your invitation to choose courage over comfort, action over analysis, faith over fear, and purpose over hesitation. Take the step, make the move, write the page, record the video, launch the idea, share the gift, because your life, your purpose, and your legacy are worth it. And remember, your discipline decides your destiny. This ain't just about motivation. This is about becoming who you were born to be. So keep building, keep showing up, and I'll see you in the next one. God bless you and keep rising.